one of the books I have today that we're going to read, which we'll go over here. Once again, I just want to say thanks everybody for the community engagement, comments, liking, subscribing. I really appreciate it, and we're building very, very, very steadily. So I appreciate all the love, and as such, we'll be giving you content and content and content and content and ASMR vibes, chilling, relaxation, until the wheels fall off. So today we're going to be doing a reading of this nice, very helpful book that I purchased about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and I will introduce it to you like a teacher today. So sit back, relax, let's chill, let's vibe, let's chill, let's vibe, let's chill, let's vibe, let's chill, let's vibe, and relax, and we'll get started here. Okay, I'm going to turn down the mic a little bit while I take this cover off. Okay. Now that the mic cover's off, we're going to be really, really careful because we can pick up everything. So I'm praying my neighbors don't make any crazy loud sounds with their dog or whatever going on right now. But today's book we're going to read is called The Portrait Painting, The Portrait Painting, The Portrait Painting Atelier, The Portrait Painting Atelier by Suzanne Brooker, S-U-Z-A-N-N-E, Suzanne, S-U-Z-A-N-N-E, Brooker, B-R-O-O-K-E-R, Suzanne Brooker, The Portrait Painting Atelier by Suzanne Brooker, and the foreword, almost like the prologue, but kind of more like a word of, I guess, respect or admiration for the work that we'll be reading in particular. But the foreword was written by Dominic, D-O-M-E-N-I-C. Dominic. He spells it in a very interesting way, but Dominic. Gritara. C-R-E-T-A-R-A. Dominic Gritara. So, if you're wondering, Atelier is just a fancy French drawing evaluate student work by saying they've got great skills, but it's too bad they can't think. It's too bad they can't think. They've got great skills, but it's too bad they can't think. It is as if visual ideas pre-existed in the mind and skills were simply the means by which to make them visible. As soon as the apparently plausible notion that skills and ideas are separate entities is conceded, the argument is lost and skills are relegated to an inferior, merely manual status. However, if skills and ideas are one and the same, why do we persist in separating them? And what measures can we take to correct this fallacy? Suzanne Brooker's book, Painting Atelier, provides a long overdue solution to this problem. Painters think with their eyes and hands as well as with their pigments, brushes, and palettes, just as we walk with our whole body, and not just with our feet. Painters' brains process the world through their bodies and their materials. Doing is thinking. By making the reader sensitive to the subtlest behaviors of pigments and medium, by explaining how the artist can take something as immaterial and private as one's own optical sensations and create an objective and objectively verifiable equivalent of those sensations on canvas, Miss Brooker seamlessly connects thinking with craftsmanship. For example, when the author describes the construction of the root of the nose, she isn't giving a formula for how to draw that anatomical detail. Instead, she invites the reader/artist to notice that the particular form and to see how it's connected to the other forms of the head. She gently guides the reader's attention by describing and having them perform specific tasks and sequence of operations, which when done with care will lead to critical understanding. This understanding provides insight into how the generalized notions of the human head and face that we have acquired in our minds are related to and corrected by specific instances of those forms as we see them and think about them when we draw and paint. All of this can be learned, and because it can be learned, it can also be taught. By doing the exercises so lovingly explained in the text, the student/painter will discover how this complex series of processes becomes the embodiment of content, the expression of feelings and ideas, which in the end must be its goal. Something as inherently difficult as painting cannot be made simple. However, it can be made clear. That is what Painting Atelier does. Furthermore, it vividly communicates the unbridled passion for craft, for a life dedicated to the solitary task of pushing paint around on the canvas, which is the essence of being a painter. So, a lot of introductory detail, kind of hyping up the book, what we're going to be talking about in terms of painting techniques and the meaning of being a as an oil paint medium. Contemplating the human face is universally compelling. Universally compelling activity. Portrait painting has traditionally depicted important members of society: the saint, the noble, the hero, the statesman, in the form of patron-supported commissions. But artists have also been interested in faces of characters: the beggar, the bootblack, the poet, the muse, the absinthe drinker, the streetwalker. Beginning with the post-1840s romantic artists, these painters increased the expressive force of color and a direct, painterly handling of the medium that embraced the emerging notions of art for art's sake. As contemporary painters, we have the richness of art history from which to draw in creating our own personal style and approach towards portraiture. The term Old Master is given to artists working from the 1400s to 1840 within Western Europe, although the names of notable artists... Oh, and that's where that ends. And we'll go on to the next page. This is a very dangerous game with this mic, so I apologize about that. It's a big book, so it's kind of hard to go around, or move around rather. I'm not going to show the illustration on that page just because it's not child friendly, so I don't want anybody to get traumatized. You dig, okay. So as we continue on to page 12 here, some of the popular artists that we know, such as Titan, Velázquez, and Rembrandt, are easily recognized. Many other artists contributed to the exchange of ideas and methods within the guilds, workshops, or academies of their times. The idea of painters working in isolation, keeping their techniques secret, is a romantic 20th century notion rather than a true reflection of what was then considered the sheer craft of painting. Nevertheless, because these techniques were never recorded by the artists themselves, the best historical analysts of old master painting methods can only speculate about the actual working methods of individual artists, which leaves contemporary painters to reinterpret these practices using modern materials. Oil painting began as a means to enhance, through glazing, the quality of egg tempera paintings. The first true oil paintings closely resembled egg tempera paintings, featuring smooth wood panel supports that were primed with white grounds and underpaintings that developed the value structure before transparent layers of color were applied. This approach to painting demanded a precise drawing and plan for developing the painting to ensure the transparency of the paint applications. In addition, it offered little flexibility in overpainting for alterations or fusing edges. With a change to using canvas as a support, a more flexible method of painting was embraced, none that realized the potentials of painting on a rougher, textured, and potentially larger surface. Instead of thinly applying paints with soft brushes, artists explored the use of stiffer brushes that allowed for scrubbing or rubbing paint over the surface, or what we call scumbling. Moving the paint in a wet-on-wet manner and diffusing edges for greater atmospheric effects, combined with the use of toned grounds, these new techniques facilitated a greater capability to express painterly effects. The stylistic interpretations of the oil painting medium by innovative artists during any time period resist classification. However, reviewing both Old Master and modern portrait painting reveals stylistic differences that can be interpreted in terms of four variables: value or tonal paintings versus those organized by colors, contrast, and linear approaches, versus those that employ diffuse painting handling, or a linear approach denotes a sensitive firmness on the edges and blending of forms as opposed to a more painterly handling with lesser or looser wet-on-wet, often brush marks. Each of these elements can be observed combined together in subtle ways over the course of art history. Okay, so class, I think that's where we're going to stop today. Breaking the ground on different painting techniques facilitated and utilized by the old masters back in the day, which were just artists who painted in between 1400 and 1840 in Western Europe, apparently. So, and this is kind of the illustration there for this page. This is a painting by Michael Sweerts called The Head of an Old Woman, which was done circa 1655. So, I don't know if you were around back then, but you know, Michael Sweerts relax a little bit and enjoy and chill and vibe and relax. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe. If you're still awake,